Good afternoon, everyone. We are 100 Years Enterprise, Consequences of the Street Life, Season 4, Episode 4. Our next guest is a beautiful brother. But before we go into him and what he's about, and we introduce him, we have to always introduce ourselves. And my name is Fahim.
Dante.
Patrick.
And who are we?
100
100
years.
Years Enterprise.
I love it.
When it comes to giving back, when it comes to serving the community, finding people, doing things that are courageous and just stepping out in the waters, that's how I like to identify this man. I met him, we connected. He saw some things in 100 years. I didn't know what it was, but he saw some things in us, and he said, "Hey, gentlemen, believe in me. Let me talk and you guys just listen. Let me drive and you guys just sit in the seat." I remember he said that to us, right? I'm like, all right. Did I trust him in the beginning? A little bit, but hey, not fully, because I didn't know what I was getting into. We didn't know what we were doing. Mike Dunn, welcome to the show, my man.
That was a great intro, man. I love that. That was a great intro. I love it. Absolutely. I've been trying to be on this podcast for about 2 years now, so I'm glad I finally made it on here. So thank you for that.
Why you was trying to be on this podcast? Why not those other podcasts was out there? Why this one?
Because I knew when I first heard the message that it was a podcast that I wanted to be a part of, and for me, it was to be involved, right? And when y'all first started, I don't know if you remember the story, but when we first met, y'all were talking about what's it like to be when you first get out, at a penitentiary.
Yes.
And I had a cousin who had just got out. Mm-hmm. And I think I made the statement that the one thing over the years, he did 18 years, but we never talked about it. And then I watched the first, I think 2 or 3 podcasts that y'all were just talking about life inside, and and it was, so for me it was a learning. So y'all actually taught me. I don't know if y'all remember that story, but y'all actually taught me, and I was just then it turned into, hey, let's connect. But that first one was like, let me sit down here and look at these podcasts, because I never really got those messages, and I was always curious about what my cousins, some other family members went through. So that was a nice life learning opportunity for me.
Do you remember the day we met?
The day
that you and I met?
I mean, it was a weekday.
What about the place?
CoBiz. Okay. Absolutely.
Downstairs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Downstairs, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. CoBiz. And again, another, to me, a shout out to CoBiz, because it puts, it cross paths. People cross paths that, I brought people, I'm the former CEO of Boys and Girls Clubs of Contra Costa. And we were using CoBiz then as, bringing some of our kids from Sylvester Greenwood Continuation School.
Absolutely.
And to run into y'all guys and hear y'all story and watch the podcast and then have that turn into, helping me out at Boys and Girls Club, which that's what it turned out to be, right? Helping me. And I'll tell you another story. I don't know if y'all remember this, but I was going through the hope when I said, let me quarterback this thing.
Yes.
Let me, because I knew, my thing was, I knew what y'all, the potential to be up under a brand like Boys and Girls Club, and what y'all can do and what y'all can bring to the organization of a specific, demographic of kids that needed that help. And I always told y'all, you understand what I get out of it. I'm gonna look like a genius.
Yes.
Because I'm gonna bring a program that almost has never really been done before on that youth level, and impact some kids at a school that almost society was kind of giving up on. And I want to take up the whole time, but with the principal, Mr. Johnson, being new principal, allowing me to be creative and connect you guys to the group there, then have a group of kids that were not even really engaged, they were just kind of there, and then y'all show up and y'all created that program. I mean, y'all changed lives. In a short period of time, y'all impacted lives. And I will always remember that. Always remember just the kids, the look on the kids' faces, you guys coming in and mentoring and tutoring and speaking. that was incredible. That was incredible.
I want to add something to that because, yeah, you are one of the few people that really, really took the time to nurture us and give us insight on where this can take us. You know, when you brought us to Contra Costa County Boys and Girls Club and allowed us to sit down and really, really start putting things together in this perspective, and led us to Greenwood Academy. And then it kind of began to open up doors in juvenile hall. You were instrumental in that. And so even when we had doubt, you convinced us through conversations of, hey, you know, this is the right path, you know, not so much to blow it, but just to look at it from a broad perspective. And I just want to say, man, in all respect to you, man, that made an impact in my life. It made me pivot and look at things and take things more serious. That it is a purpose. Mm-hmm. There's a purpose behind what we do, and you have to be totally engaged and look at the nuances, right, of business. Look at the nuances and where you fit in that, and you helped us with that, and I appreciate that. That was deep.
Nah, I think we helped each other, you know. And I tell you another thing that I'll add. I think this is for the audience to really understand this, because at the time, you know, even Boys and Girls Clubs of America, you know, didn't understand it, and you know they have a high standard for safety and child safety, and something that I truly believe in. And when we talked, I don't know if you guys remember this, I said we got to go through training.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And I think this is important for everybody to understand that y'all didn't just pop into Greenwood and just started working with kids. No. I mean, y'all went through 3 months of watching, you know, videos and understanding what, you know, how do you interact with kids, what you can and cannot do. And that's a big deal, right? Because y'all took it serious. You know, y'all drove all the way out to Martinez, right? And so that was, that just showed to me the commitment that y'all had. And again, now it made me feel comfortable because I said these guys have gone through the proper training.
Yes.
They're not just some guys that just say, hey, I just, you know, got out and we're doing this 100 years and let's just go. No, y'all put in the work. Y'all put in the work to understand youth development. And the reason why I think that's a big message, you know, for the audience is anybody who brings you guys on in a youth services capacity needs to understand that y'all have gone through the proper training and y'all understand, you know, what it means. And so for me, that was a big deal. And you know, when I was even able to communicate that to, you know, Boys and Girls Club, I know that they were, you know, satisfied in terms of, okay, we didn't realize that they put in that kind of effort to make this happen. Right. And that was, you know, you guys on time, you didn't really want to drive to Martinez and come up there and meet with staff and go through that training. So, you know, kudos for you guys for doing this. And I'll say one last thing. Remember, I told y'all that y'all were going to make it. I told y'all that this thing is going to take off, and it was going to be, you know, you had your one audience that y'all were talking to people, you know, helping guys get acclimated, you know, when they get out of those situations. But to me, the youth services, you're impacting lives of people who now actually have hope.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, y'all were giving those kids and still are. And so when I hear about juvenile hall and all that, that's brilliant, man. I feel like a star.
I mean, you are a star.
And you should, though.
I love talking about you guys.
You should. And always, you know, thank you, because you opened that door. You opened that door, you know, for going to juvenile hall. I mean, if it wasn't you, probably wouldn't even be up in there. You know, so I always thank you for where we at now, because we can't never leave Mike Dunn out. We always got to give thanks to Mike Dunn. You know, even though I was kind of like, I don't know about Mike Dunn, you know, but you opened that door, and I want to just say thank you. And this podcast is about the consequence of the street life, right? Now, we're going to go to that direction right quick. The consequence of the street life, Mike Dunn, where you grew up in, I'm quite sure you've seen some things in your neighborhood what made you go right instead of left. Because somewhere down the line, you know, you didn't go and say, let me go pick up a dope sack or a gun. Or it could have been, you know, your training from home, how you was raised at home. So can you elaborate on how the consequence of the street life might have played a role in your life to be where you at today.
Absolutely, and I think that some kids, the thing that I think I always try to tell, young kids, especially those who may be getting bullied, maybe going through situations where it look like they don't have, and like you said, the dope man got, you back in the day, you got the big dope chains and the cars and all that, and you feel, there's a group of kids that try to go for that, but what I learned, right, is that, wow, if you hang in there, things get better, right? You hang in there, things get better. So for me, I was a little nervous kid, right? Like I said, getting bullied and, and different things, growing up, and even family members and friends who I thought were, and I was just telling the story, earlier, there was one gentleman that in the 9th grade, just, a friend, and, but he was just kind of living that lifestyle. And then maybe about a year or two ago, I saw somebody who knew him, and he told me, oh, man, he's doing real good. I said, you know what? I thought he was going to be dead or in jail. Mm. He said, oh, no, he did penitentiary time. Right. He said, no, he went. So it's almost like you knew that eventually everybody ends up on that path, either dead or in jail. When you hear adults say that, and you don't really take it serious. Yeah. But now I look back, I'm like, wow, everybody, this got me in trouble one time on Facebook. I had a lot of, this is like, again, people from middle school. Mm-hmm. And they were, this is 30 years later, and they were saying, look at the list of all the people who are dead now from our class. And I commented like, yeah, no surprises there. Mm-hmm. And they were mad at me, but I'm like, nah, everybody on that list was living that life.
Living that life, so that was expected.
Yeah, so my point, I guess, is, it's truth to that you're going to end up in jail or dead. That's truth. That really does happen. So for me, growing up, I say being scared of authority, being scared to, go that route in terms of just, I wasn't just a street person in terms of I was nervous, right? I was nervous. I remember one time me and my cousin got in trouble and we got caught, and I was like, it wasn't just me, because I was nervous. And so, again, my point is now I fast forward, I'm like, you know what, life turned out pretty good. Life turned out pretty good. And to go out and go back to that example of that list, to look at an entire list of names and say, yeah, I'm not surprised those folks are dead. Right. That lets you know that the street life it ain't nothing in there. It ain't nothing in there. And I would say, if you're going through hard times growing up, hang in there.
Yes.
Hang in there. And now to connect all the dots, get a chance to get in front of people like y'all, right? The kids who are going through hard times get a chance to get in front of credible messengers, right? That was the name of our program at Boys and Girls. So credible messengers.
I have to add something to that credible messenger. Also credible mentors.
Credible mentors, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Credible, absolutely. Yes. Credible gentlemen, right? Yeah. But that's big because that's where the impact happens on youth, right? So hopefully even youth to get a chance to watch y'all's podcast, y'all get a chance to go to different school districts. Just giving that example of hang in there, you'll change somebody's life just just on that. And I would say one other thing that obviously everybody knows you guys' story, but y'all are able to tell a young person what it's like to go to prison at 17, 18 years old. And y'all actually went through that, and y'all put in all those years, and the impact to be able to come out and say, this is why you don't want to go that street life, because, man, you lose so many years. I think what somebody said, one of y'all used to say the statement, you don't want to make a death decision.
Early death decision.
That's an incredible line. Mm. That's an incredible statement, because those decisions sometimes are 30-second decisions. Yes. 1 minute decision, right? And you do it, and all of a sudden, and that's so I guess my point is to give kids hope, because when we were growing up, we didn't have a lot of hope, and the kids that were scared, nervous, either tried to get into the fast life and couldn't couldn't maintain, couldn't make it, or the ones who made it. Well, we thought you were, you balling, 17, 18 years old. We like, wow, this person's on top of it, and they don't even make it to C21.
Yeah.
Don't make it C21, 22. And so it's so much life out there. It's so much life out there, and even y'all right now, think about how much life y'all got in front of y'all.
Right.
Yeah,
Some great years.
Yeah, we think about it all the time. When you think of the words early death decisions, and the list, no surprise, they'll be dead or in jail. Making an early death decision doesn't just mean jail or death. It could mean spiritually dead, emotional dead, not understanding who you are. Because when we say dead or death, that means I'm no longer existing in my thought patterns or just breathing. So I think what our life experiences, we experience all of those. And emotional death. Because we was living a life of chaos, didn't care about the consequences, right? But now, as we grew as young men into our adult life, we understand it all. And as you said, now we're able to see life differently. And I think that's the greatest impact that we are having in today's society and in the youth.
Well, y'all guys are good, man. That was pretty freaking good. I like early death not being. Wow, that was. You know what? Good for y'all. That was. I'm gonna start using that. So when y'all hear me say early death decision, that's. I like that. That's a great statement.
Well, it's so much. It's so many different definitions of that we experience, and the other one is early death decision can mean you made a decision that cost you the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. That you could, just like Groundhog Day. Every day you wake up and you repeat the same act for the act you did. That's an early death decision. If you're doing 30, 40 years for one act.
Yeah.
So that's an early death decision because you don't know if you're going to live through that capacity. We didn't know we was going to make it back. We couldn't just say, we knew in our hearts we had the hope to say, God going to let us out one day. Things going to change. But our health and everything's coming into play. Because we actually seen men, in prison pass away. You know what I mean? So that's what we mean by early death decision, right? Because you're taking on stress and all these things, living in a faulty environment. You don't know how you going to, or when you do come back, like he said, you spiritually bankrupt. Majnun, the term in Arabic is crazy, right? And you can't adapt. You can't acclimate. You out, but you have a problem acclimating. And that's early death. So it's a lot of psychological defects that one goes through when one makes, at a young age, early death decision. So it's powerful, yeah.
When I sit here and hear you guys, I'm so glad y'all got involved with youth services. I mean, truly, because it just demonstrates the impact that you have made, that you are making, and that you will continue to make. Because I'm listening to it now, like, wow, just imagine how many kids need to hear that, and not hear it from somebody who understands, like, you've been there, right? And you understand that path, and now you're able to communicate it in a way that they understand and they get it. I always tell the story when I talk about Sylvester Greenwood and you guys coming in there. I always give the example of there were three gentlemen who, and you guys know these three kids who kept their head down on the table. So wouldn't be engaged. We have guest speakers in there. They wouldn't pay attention at all. Just y'all start coming. Not only were they engaged, hey, how you doing, Mr. Dunn? Hey, how you doing, Mr. Shaking everybody's hands. And the day that y'all didn't make it for whatever reason, hey, are those guys going to be here? 100 years going to be here? So they start coming to that program because it was more than just a message. They felt like there was mentoring. They felt like it was somebody who understood them. It felt like they just wanted to talk. And when I saw that, I was like, yeah, this is, I'm going to get an award for this. but that was really impactful. Those guys were not engaged at all. And to see them come out of that shell and start speaking and wanting to help around the room, and that's huge. That's a huge impact, man. Y'all should be proud of that. Y'all remember the guys I'm
Yeah.
talking about?
Actually,
that's-
one of them, he works down the street. He cut his hair off every day. And one of them, I saw the Pinole Valley football game. Every time I see these young men, they hug me and greet me. It's just
Nice.
It's just a feeling of elation. It's a great feeling, man. I just love it.
I really hope that some young people in some school districts not only invite y'all in to work with the youth and to speak with the youth, but I hope that people are getting their podcasts.
Yeah.
I hope that they're able to at least, hey, today class we're gonna watch this podcast in school, because I think when school districts realize that y'all exist and the impact that y'all are able to make,
Right.
some of those curriculum y'all got to be a part of it.
Of course.
Y'all got to be a part of it, man. So I'm glad to be on this journey with you
Most
guys. You know
definitely.
that.
Most definitely. And
Definitely.
again, we thank you. I can't thank you enough, because everything you say has came into fruition in regards of our actions by being consistent about being serious about with the body of work that we're doing. So it's humbling.
Man, now, it's not luck either, right? What they say, luck is when opportunity, meets preparation. So yeah, so to me, even going back to that training that you guys did, that was preparing you for on the youth services side,
Yes.
right? That was preparing you to go to schools, to go to school districts, to work with kids. And the reason why I think that's a big deal, because you always keep hearing on TV, what we're going to do with our young people. How do we get our young people to change their lives? How do we stop, crime and going? There's no connection, right? Everybody thinks it's in a textbook.
Yes.
Or they think that, you have teachers and people and you just kind of follow that leader. And there's no impact there. And so to me, to be able to have a program like this, 100 years is so impactful that to me it's because it's giving youth hope, it's giving them a path, even if the path is don't go that way.
Yeah.
I don't know which one I'm gonna take, but I'm not gonna go that way. That's a game changer.
Yeah.
Because I think when you're young, image, especially nowadays,
Yes,
everybody look at social media
Yes.
and they're comparing themselves to each other, even though now you find out that the people on social media have been lying, acting like they're living a life that they're really not.
Exactly.
And so the influence now, if you can get kids to realize, stay on path, hang in there, life definitely gets better, then y'all change the world.
Yes.
And then on top of that, we also got to give them some. We can talk all day long, but if we're not giving them something, create something from them to do, positive, that can get them to the next level, then it don't matter what we say, So they always look for something. So that's why I always say we have to give them something, and give and guide them, because we can talk and then just fall back. Well, he ain't care about me anyway. So that's the main thing, is to give them something. When we take something, let's give them something.
I know you guys are going to start getting involved like sports programs and that kind of stuff. Did y'all ever get that far yet in terms of teaching kids like exercising and sports and?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes, we're doing that. Actually, let's talk about when we talk about the impact of 100 years. We're gonna get to that experience too. When you have now judges recognize the work that we do, and they tell them probation, the DA's office was a public defender's office. You about to have young men who will be referred to 100 Years Enterprise on what's called the Community Pathway. And that's the only organization that we're going to mess with, because we believe in them, and that's so monumental to us, Mike Dunn. So
I'm not familiar with community pathways.
I know. So
Yeah.
we about to enlighten you on that. And that's why I had to mention it. So Community Pathway, you have what's called Community Pathway. Inside the probation department, you have what's called Secure Track and Commitment Track. So those are those who are doing this time inside. But also you have those who are being released because DJJ has been shut down. Division of the Juvenile Justice, which are the CYAs, California Youth Authorities. So young men, they are able to be released early on ankle monitor supervised release. But they are being released to 100 Years Enterprise. So we have caseloads of young men that are being released.
Wow.
Yes.
That's nice. That's
And then
that's
to add
huge.
to that too, that's why the vexing process of finding credible mentors, as you said,
Yes.
is very important. We want people of like mind that understand the condition of the young men. And not to say that you have to be incarcerated or been incarcerated. We're not saying that. But we do want you to have an in-depth understanding of where them young men are at and being able to mentor them in regards to community pathway or such a thing, because so we can have a bigger caseload. But yeah, Fahim is absolutely
I
correct.
give you guys credit on that term, because I tell you the difference that I'm hearing. Credible messengers is almost like a one-off. I'm there, I give a message, and a credible mentor means I'm here.
Right.
Exactly.
I'm engaged.
Exactly.
I'm here to do that. That's
one thing
that's
we try
pretty
to
cool.
we try to stay away from and pride ourselves of doing what everyone else is doing, because it becomes watered down. That's like we have a curriculum, or we doing the same thing what other organizations are doing. So how does that put us apart from everyone else? So when people are looking to solicit 100 years, they are, like, say, funders or grant writers, right? Or people who are who want to support what we're doing. We understand now, when you're looking into the text of a thing, they want to see what sets you apart from these different organizations. And us having a community pathway and the other things that we're doing, it has now set us apart from different organizations. And I love it. And being able to walk inside. Remember that time we sat inside juvenile hall, we talked to the directors and everything?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't know what to do with us. So we had to really tell them what they need to allow us to do. So now we're able to walk through every door in there. And just last couple of weeks, you have what's called, one of the directors, she sent a message, she said, hey, Fahim, I might get in trouble because from the judge, you have been doing LME. We got to do it. Can you please incorporate to the program? I said, what's LME? It's long muscle exercises. Yeah. So now we in there, push-ups, burpees. On Fridays, he doing 500 push-ups with the kids.
Yeah, most definitely. And just to add to what you said too, for so profound, I was just thinking about that. Yeah, it started off with the directors basically trying to figure out, they wanted us, but what is the deliverables? This is the business aspect, the services. What are you providing?
Yeah.
What's the deliverables? You know what I mean? This is the business. It ain't about, standing around. What are you going to deliver, right, in terms of works with our operation? That's just the business side of the texture of it. So when we understood that, right, okay, so we kind of realized that they have no idea. So we start creating, as you said, curriculums that fit the needs, that fit what we do, not what everybody else do, fit what we do. And then we built on that. And so when we see, pulling away from everybody else and trying to establish our thing, of course, when you have a sponsor, just know one thing, what are you offering that sets you apart from everyone else? Because if all y'all are the same, then why am I messing with you? And that's the key to what we start understanding about the business side of it. And you have to be engaging it all the time. It's a system of, you know that, Mike. You taught us that. It's not something you can let off the gas.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got to be engaged to really build. And that's where we at. You know what I mean? And it's powerful because that's the part when I say it humbles me. Because for me to learn, I have to be humble and focus on the work. And that's most important.
One thing I want to say, because I don't want to forget this thought, and one of these cameras that are over here, if I'm talking to the audience, this is the big item. If you are a leader of a foundation, if you are in charge or a decision maker for any grants, you need to really, reach out. And because I always hear about these foundations and all these different grants, they want to help people, right? They want to help kids, they want to help communities. You're talking to a group right now that if you have that authority, you have that decision-making power, you're leading a foundation, reach out to 100 Years Enterprise and, get them on, on your list. Get them on your list as a funding agent or a group to fund, because to me at the time when we were connected, that was the only piece missing. Remember, we were trying to go find funding and try to find. Now that the core curriculum is in place, the training is done, you guys understand youth development, so you understand deliverables. You have to do. I mean, now it's just somebody to just say, sign your name right here, fill out this grant.
Absolutely.
And what I also hate is sometimes the grant process, and the reason I said that to anybody out there, sometimes they make it so challenging to figure out how to even write, because they're asking for all these different things, that if somebody's support is to help y'all in that area, and if you're the grant writer, if you're a grant writer specifically, which means that you know of other grants to apply for, this is the group that you invest in. This is the group that you invest in, because the deliverables and the impact that they're able to make in the communities here are incredible. And the fact, again, that I got a chance to witness it firsthand and continue to, one of the statements that we made when we first were connecting, I enjoyed watching the development of the kids, but I enjoyed watching y'all develop.
Yes.
Right? When I sat there and watched y'all go through training and again, now that I realized I didn't know this before, that none of y'all really trust me. Now that it came out today. I didn't know that before. So I'm glad that y'all were able to put that out on the table. But to watch y'all's development from when we first started to go down that path, I enjoyed watching both. I'm like, wow, this is beyond any rehabilitation or whatever you want to call it, in terms of, y'all were, taking off as professionals. Right, and so now again, going back out there, anybody's in grant, you're writing grants for a professional, credible mentor group. Right, we agree with that.
Yes.
So I hope something comes through for that. Seriously.
I just want to say this, Mike Dunn, before we kind of wrap this up. Thank you again. I'm always thanking you, because, like I said, you gave us that door opener, and that's one of the reasons why we where we at today. So thank you.
We'd like to always give a shout out to Chevron now, who believe in us. Thanks to you for introducing us and making that connection. We always talk about, you put your hands like this to make the connection, right? And thank you, Chevron, who been assisting us, sponsoring us. Now they sent us a message a couple months ago. We're now like to sponsor you guys, which is great. And we just see things, the more we grow, the more we stay authentic and doing the work, it's growing and growing. And as we speak about duplications and what set us apart, it's a tribute, because I got a message yesterday. I want to just read it real in brief. I'm not going to read the whole thing, just to give a little context what we were talking about. And it says, thank you so much for coming to speak to us and providing us your attached proposal. And then it goes on to say, unfortunately, the majority of services included in the attached proposal are services for which we are already contracted and would result in duplication. So that being said, they like the work we'll be doing, but we can't receive those services, because it'll result in a duplication of what's already been provided to said organization. Right? So I look at this and like, okay, we got to continue to set ourselves apart from other organizations. And so when I look at the email, it's kind of deep. It's like, okay, we have to stay educating, growing, and looking at these lessons.
But I'll also add, what I'm hearing is the service is duplicated, but you can't duplicate the mentors.
Exactly.
The messengers and the mentors. So unfortunately, what that person or group doesn't understand, for example, let's say they have mentoring happening and we're teaching you about street life.
Yes.
But it's being taught by somebody who
They never went
not
exactly.
connected. They're doing it from a theory,
Yes.
from theoretical books, and so they're looking at it and saying, "Oh, we already do this service." No, you really don't do this service. So you guys are already separated.
The second part of that, it says, but.
Oh, I didn't hear the but. Okay.
I know.
Let me shut up.
I know. That's why we do it. So the second part said, but the community pathway, what you all are doing, please tell us more about that. because we want you all to provide that for us.
Boom! That's solid. I should see when kids, when you shut your mouth and you let your, that's solid. So they did. Yeah.
So that part, the textual part, like, okay, we got that. But this, your other bigger piece.
Wow.
Come out here and get these kids.
Wow.
You know, and save them. And that's the same thing I gotta say, Malkia Carter said. Y'all just come save these kids. I don't care how you do it. Just save these kids.
Man.
And I'm gonna camel back off that because she also mentioned that in regards to just respecting what we do, right, and being professional about what we do and making the hard decisions in regards to how the organization should run. And she always tell us, stay on top of your game and stay focused on what you're supposed to be doing for these kids.
Yes.
So we go into juvenile hall, what we got, 3 curriculums now? Me and you?
Yeah, so we got MC3, financial literacy, CGA, criminal game members anonymous. We teaching those things and just life skills. So every time we come through, actually one of the supervisors, he ran outside one night and said, "Hey, Fahim, I told all of higher ups, get rid of all the programs and just bring all you guys up in here." One of the supervisors. So this is almost at 10 o'clock at night while I was dropping a young man off who was privy to leave juvenile hall 3 times a week while in custody to come to Rising Sun for MC3 training. He just graduated last week, so the chief and everybody, they came down. So no one knew that I was transporting him back but us. So that's great. First time ever done in California.
Unheard of.
Wow. You guys are changing the system.
Yes.
You got to change the system. And big shout out to Miss Crowder.
Yeah, so Miss Crowder, Issa, Tamara, B, Mag, everybody up in there. So they always tell us, we was on crying for it. They like, y'all said probation, but you didn't say Martinez Juvenile Hall. So
Martinez,
Issa, Tamara, Crowder, hi.
Good.
So it's it's good. And they just told us just last week, if any counties, no, she said, what she say? Oh, I told all the chiefs up and down California, if you try to come get 100 years, we're going to have some problems. Y'all stuck with us. So we basically might be stuck inside Contra Costa County. Basically just so we got the clout and leverage to do what we want to do.
Look what happens if you never make that phone call to juvenile hall.
Huh? Yeah.
I tell you, I again, kudos to Miss Crowder, because at that time I think she had just got a promotion. So for her to put her name out there and shout out to Chevron.
Yeah.
That's big shout out to
Big
Chevron.
shout out.
That's a huge deal for them to also put a big corporate name behind it and believe in it. You guys are just getting started. You got to just get started.
This guy, he'll call, he'll say, "Hey, Fahim, man, boss lady." I'm like, "Oh, man, what I did, what we do now, man? Damn."
Yeah, she'll call me and boss lady wants to, you know what I mean? Because it's about, man, just sitting at the table, man, and negotiating, I should say, working through partnerships, man, and collaborations, how to help these kids. And you got to be at the table. You got to be sincere about the work. If you're not, it's gonna go right over your head. So it's just a humbling experience. Like I say, man, Mike Dunn, you did open the doors for us in regards to just getting us see with a clear vision of what we have. And that's powerful to me. So, every time I talk to you or look at you, I gave you that call. I said, "Mike, you got to come on the show, man. It's your time." You're like, "Man, I've been trying to come on the show."
Yeah. 2 years now. 2 years now.
Yeah, Mike.
And I say this. The title of this podcast is Street Life.
The consequence of the street life.
Y'all get a chance to make sure a lot of youth don't see those consequences. Don't even see street life. Don't even look at that term. Right? And if they are in juvenile hall, they get a chance to know that I still have hope. I can get out of juvenile hall and not think about street life.
Yeah.
So y'all changing the terminology, y'all changing the system, and you're impacting lives. And I'm so glad that I've been a part of the journey. And I told y'all, and I'll end it on this, I said y'all gonna make me look good. And everywhere I talk, everywhere I go to, when they talk about what's something that you've done and you were a part of that was you're just either legacy, proud of, and just a game changer. Let me tell you about this group 100 years. And I just go because I got 1,000 different stories I can tell from there. So thank you for
Most definitely
for y'all giving me a
Most
chance
definitely.
to connect.
Want to wrap this up. Thank you again, Brother Mike Dunn. We truly appreciate you. 100 Years Enterprise. You can reach us at 100 Years Enterprise on our YouTube channel. You can reach us at 100 Years DLP on our Instagram. And where else can they find us at, gentlemen?
On our website, 100years.biz, we try to put what we going to, put our podcast on Patreon. Patreon is a good landing spot to get the word out. But we really want to go into the realm of audio because we use audio. Audio reaches more people than video does. And so that's something that we're working on. We also get a shout out to our new production team, G26 Productions, my man Gabe. We started off at Reed Media. They helped us a lot. But evolution, and so we see ourselves evolving.
And coming soon too. I want to say real soon, maybe first quarter 2024. We want to be able to have mentors, bring more credible mentors in, right, to assist us with this work, body of work. Because we are expanding, and we want to bring more mentors in that's going to come in and want to do the work and reach more youth to change their lives, to help steer them from making early death decisions.
So y'all going to help people,
So share,
impacting lives.
like, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, 100 Years Enterprise.
There it is there.
G26 Productions. All right.
That was good.